And that little tractor was borrowed from a local dealer as a courtesy, and they promised to return it all shined up and full of gas. I don't want to be the one that has to explain that. All right, in our next pair, it is David Morris, a smiling young guy in the Equalizer. Does this for a living.
And there's Bennett Clark on Clydesdale from Canton, Georgia. We've seen him quite a bit in the center of the action in the tractor pull. The Chevrolet of Clydesdale, that will be on the far side facing the Equalizer here in the near lane.
Well, Bennett Clark, the far lane, full of confidence, gave our cameraman the thumbs up sign, and it's another beautiful start and great race. Remember, these are four-wheel steering vehicles. How you use the rear wheel steer determines how well you get through that corner, and again, they both do it perfectly.
Well, Bennett Clark is a master, though. He makes up a little distance coming around the corner, but still it is Equalizer that gets to the line first, beating the Clydesdale.
Oh, this is the most competitive monster truck action we have ever seen here in the Astrodome. Let's take a look at the start. It was Equalizer in the near lane with an early advantage, and that was later to pay big dividends.
Well, the Clydesdale wasted an awful lot of time in the air on the first jump. That gave the Equalizer an opportunity to get ahead.
Exactly. When you're up in the air, you don't have any driving wheels on the ground. The crowd loves it, the photographers love it, but it's not good competition sense. And here's where that starting line advantage and the low flying paid off for Equalizer.
Well, David Morris, what do you think? That was just about as close a matchup as you can get. Yeah, Clydesdale, he's a good smooth runner, and I knew I'd have to try to beat him on this first part of the track because I still hadn't got this rear steering deal figured out yet. Had a little trouble with it down there coming over the hill. Once I got straight, though, I had enough power that I could pass him in the air. Good run. Thanks.
So David Morris, with the Equalizer, moves ahead in this single elimination competition of the monster trucks. This isn't a monster truck. It's another 4x4 puller as they're ready over on those lanes once again. And we'll take a look at the pullers when we come back.
Football, baseball, rodeo, bingo. They do it all in the Houston Astrodome, but only once a year does it fill with horsepower. The TNT All-American. I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page and Pat Patterson, and we go back to the 4x4 6,200-pound truck class. Robert Gallahan, that incredible pull of 283 feet. Manuel Marino, the defending champ of the Dome, still in that second position.
Gallahan with 6 feet ahead of the second place pull. Had an incredible pull going, and as you mentioned earlier, Steve, people like Randy McConnell from Alabama, who comes up now, have to fight not only the problems they may have with their own machinery, but also with a course that may by now be dug out a bit.
Well, all of the pullers have favored the left side of the course. I wonder what would happen if somebody went right. Randy McConnell, the yellow fever, he is going to be disappointed with this one.
Yeah, I'm afraid he is, Steve. He came up way short of the line. There's the measurement, 266.65 feet. That's not even in the top 5.
You know, in replay, Paul, of the number of the pulls, we could see maybe it was too much wheel spin or the weight bias towards the rear. I think in this case, Yellow Fever just flat didn't have the oomph to get the job done.
Yeah, I think you may be right. You can see it's a fairly straight run. Everything looks good. Might be just a little lack of horsepower. So Randy can go back to the drawing board, buy a few new pieces, and pump some more ponies into it.
Everything is balanced in this game. Did you feel like when you went into it, you knew what you had, and did you come up short with it?
Yeah, it felt like it hooked up real good, but I believe it went away down here on the end. The track got bad, I think.
Good run, and the fans sure enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.
Well, Randy McConnell with a little work to do. He's out of this competition here at the Houston Astrodome. Now there's Mr. Sparkle, the next puller. You know, if you love trucks, you got to love these machines that they run here. They treat them with loving care and do some amazing work on them. Earlier, Steve took a look at Mr. Sparkle.
The philosophy of running a four-wheel drive vehicle is much different than any of the two-wheel classes in pulling. For one thing, you're not trying to dangle that front end up in the air a little bit for weight transfer. All four wheels are driving and must be driving hard. So your steering is really done with the steering wheel as opposed to independent braking. Now, as far as suspension is concerned, well, it's quite a bit different. For example, at the rear, there isn't any whatsoever. It is absolutely bolted up solid because the rear wheels are pulling the back end of the truck down anyway. Now, Glenn Davis, who drives this beautiful Sparkle Chevy S10 truck, has a 4-speed transmission. You only use 1 gear per pull, but they have the option of 4, and there's 300 RPM difference between them. He'll watch a couple of pullers and select a gear. If he makes a pull-off, he'll probably go down a gear because of the additional weight that's added to the sled. Oh, and speaking of weight, we said there was none at the back. With a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you get all the weight possible, legally possible, on the very front of the truck. That's how it's done.
Amazing little machine, Mr. Sparkle. Glenn Davis is the driver out of Miramar, Florida. He's looking to beat that 283.7-foot pull.
When you name a truck, you better be ready to live up to the name, and that baby does sparkle. Oh, Paul, he got terrific momentum early on in this pull. Glenn Davis has got one going. Glenn Davis, yes, is our new leader. 291.67 feet. That'll throw Robert Gallahan into shock. I'm sure he thought this late in the action no one would top his 283. So much for the course wearing out.
Well, I'll tell you, Glenn Davis apparently really studied the course. He decided to take a risk and moved over to the right side. Just exactly what you were suggesting earlier, Steve. Why isn't anybody going down the right side? Maybe he heard you. Boy, it sure paid off. Plus, he did a nice little piece of driving here.
I wonder if he'd give me a percentage of his winnings if he takes this whole deal. All right, let's go down to Pat at the far end to talk with our brand new leader.
Well, Glenn Davis, were you happy with that?
Yeah, I felt really good. I had a good hole shot. I knew it was on the outside track where nobody would have been pulling and come out and took the lead.
Now, we talked a little bit earlier this afternoon. You felt like this might be your night here at the Astrodome. You still feel that way?
Oh, yeah. I've ran 8 times this year, and 6 of them are first, and I'm going to make 7 tonight.
All right, good luck to you. Hang around. We'll see if you can win it.
Thank you.
Glenn Davis, the new leader, as he takes us into the 290s, but it's fascinating that we have not seen a full pull at 300 feet. Normally, we'll see a full pull and we'll see a pull-off.
Well, apparently, the TNT officials tonight, Paul, just decided to make the weight transfer device the sled a little extra tough.
You may remember that Pat Patterson was sitting up on this Ford machine a little bit ago as he described these machines to you. This is the Outlaw. Russell DeForrest is the driver.
Reflecting for a moment on that earlier pull by Glenn Davis, I wonder if, after watching how hard this sled was to pull, he dropped down a gear lower than everybody else. And possibly Russell DeForrest has done the same thing. Russell, right in the middle of the racetrack, gets a little bit sideways. We saw that hurt some earlier pullers, and it's going to hurt him.
Boy, it's hurt him bad, too. This run he's not going to be proud of at all because he comes through at 249.7 feet. Russell DeForrest picked the middle of the track. That kind of surprised me. I would have thought when you see a successful run, you try and replicate the thing.
Yeah, you would think so. We have 2 more pullers to go in the class. It will be interesting to see where they go, right, left, or middle.
You know, I think he started well, and then he must have sent some wheel spin or something because he came back out of the throttle and then powered it up again. But by then, his inertia was gone, and he came through with this run. I'm sure he's going to be nodding his head at that.
I think you're right, Paul. You can't get off the throttle and back in it on one of these things and expect to win the class. You might place higher than you would have otherwise, but you're not going to win. All right, the distance to beat, 291.67 feet. Here is our next to the last puller. Obviously a brand new truck. Donnie Sanders in the Tennessee, and he is hooked. And look at the start here, Paul. Nicely done.
Oh, he's got a nice run going, and this horse is capable. We saw that with Glenn Davis's run. Look at the Tennessean, the Chevrolet. He's way down there.
He is. It is laser measured at 289.41 feet. That is good enough for second place behind Glenn Davis.
Well, that was a super little run. He poured a lot of power to it. Apparently, he became aware that this course was capable of holding more power than we had seen earlier. But look, too, he's doing a little bit of steering right there at the start and moving the front end around.
He might have taken number 1, Paul, had that run been just a bit straighter. We talked earlier about toe-in. Well, here on this new truck of Donnie Sanders, we see some dramatic toe-in on the vehicle, more than we have on any of the others. All right, let's go back down to Pat Patterson and find out how Donnie feels about it.
Well, Donnie, what do you think of that pass?
Well, I thought he made a good run right then. It hooked real good. The track's fighting a lot and everything. I was real pleased with the hook. Might have stood a little more gear in it there. It made a lot of, you know, it took a lot of power to pull it.
We haven't heard anybody complain about this track tonight. They've really got it right.